My wife got obsessed with TikTok, told me she wasted her life on me, and threw boiling water at me when I confronted her, but in the end, justice finally showed up. I'm 42, and my wife is 41. We've been married for 18 years, and for the most part, things were good. We shared the same lifestyle, active, outdoorsy, loved going for hikes, traveling whenever we could, hitting the gym together. We genuinely had fun doing those things. Our daughter is 19 now. She left for college last year, and while it took some adjusting not having her around, we were managing fine. Then she came home for a few months on break, and that's when things shifted. During that time, my wife and daughter got really into TikTok. At first, it seemed harmless. They'd laugh at silly videos, do little dances in the kitchen together. I even helped record a few fashion clips for them. It was light, fun, and bonding. But when our daughter went back to school, the app didn't leave with her. At first, it was small. My wife would stay in bed a little longer, mention a makeup trend or some cleaning hack she saw, nothing major. But soon, she started staying up later and later, glued to her screen. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. and see the glow of her phone still lighting up her face. She began skipping our gym sessions, no more weekend hikes. She'd say she was too tired or had edits to do. I brushed it off, thinking maybe she was adjusting to our daughter being gone again. But then, the change became obvious. She started taking this whole TikTok thing seriously. I tried to be supportive, helped her record, gave feedback, even pitched ideas based on stuff we used to enjoy together. But I couldn't shake the feeling that she was building a new life, one that didn't include me. She spent hours hunting for the perfect angle for a 15-second clip. Her outfits changed, tighter, trendier, younger looking. No judgment, she looked amazing, honestly, but her whole vibe started to shift. She talked differently, used TikTok lingo in real-life conversations. Everything started revolving around how something would look on video. It felt like she had stepped into this online persona and just left reality behind. I mentioned it a few times, gently. I'd ask if she wanted to plan a weekend hike, or hit the gym like we used to. But every time, the answer was the same: too tired, too busy, editing content, or she'd say she was on her own path now. She stopped making time for basically anything outside her little content bubble. Grocery shopping became entirely my job. If I didn't make dinner, it was Uber Eats again. The intimacy between us vanished, no sex, barely even hugs. Whenever I tried to talk about it, she'd accuse me of not supporting her. Said I didn't understand what she was trying to do, and that this whole thing was empowering for her. I tried to be patient. But the more I let it go, the more she pushed the boundaries. One time, she missed our anniversary dinner because she lost track of time filming a video, some skincare story or something like that. A few weeks ago, I hit my limit. We had a small argument, nothing major. I just asked why she had cancelled yet another hike we had planned together. That's when she exploded. She told me she felt like she had wasted her life with a man who didn't understand her. She said she was finally doing something meaningful and that I was trying to drag her back into a boring life. I was stunned. I'll admit, I didn't respond in the kindest way. I told her, with sarcasm, not yelling or being cruel, that if she thought TikTok was going to give her purpose, maybe she should ask the app how to be a real partner again. She was boiling water to cook pasta during this, and I didn't think anything of it, until she turned around and threw the damn water at me. This wasn't an accident. She didn't spill it. She didn't drop it. She threw it. The water hit my left arm and part of my chest. I screamed, it felt like my skin was being torn off. I backed up, trying to cool off under the sink, but it was too late. I ended up in the ER with second-degree burns. The doctors asked what had happened. I didn't want to lie, so I told them. They wrote it down and said it was serious and that they would have to report it. She didn't visit me. Didn't even ask if I was okay. She sent me 2 texts, one saying it was just an accident, and another saying I provoked her and made her feel unsafe. That was it. Meanwhile, I was lying in a hospital bed, arm bandaged and in pain, wondering what the hell just happened to my marriage. I came home the next day. She was in the living room, recording another video. She didn't apologize. She didn't mention what she had done. I overheard her in her little video calling me controlling, saying I tried to kill her dreams. Not a single word about the burns. Hi. I'm sleeping in the guest room now. I can't even look at her without thinking about that pot. I don't feel safe in my own home anymore. It's like I lost my wife to an app, and I don't know if she's ever coming back. I'm not looking for sympathy. I just need to hear from someone outside this bubble. Update 1. The house is a mess. The sink is full of dishes, dirty laundry is piling up, and takeout containers are stacked on the coffee table. She's turned our living room into some kind of content studio, and it's clear she no longer cares about the rest of the house. I always knew she could get obsessive when she got into something new, but this goes way beyond anything I've ever seen before. I tried to talk to her calmly. At that point, I wasn't even angry, just exhausted. She cut me off and told me I was trying to emotionally manipulate her, that I was using her growth against her. She said her online support system helped her realize how oppressed she had been in our marriage. Our daughter called later that night. She's back at university and had no idea how bad things had gotten. I didn't want to dump everything on her, but I mentioned the hospital, and that her mom had thrown boiling water at me. She didn't even know there'd been a fight. She started crying on the phone and apologized for ever getting her mom into TikTok in the first place. She said she thought it would just be something fun to bond over, something harmless. I told her it wasn't her fault, but I could tell she was blaming herself. A few close friends have been asking how we're doing. Some of them noticed something was off the last time they saw her but didn't want to say anything. My brother, on the other hand, didn't hold back. He told me this was assault and that I needed to push the police to act. So far, they haven't done anything. This isn't the first time she's gone all in on a new identity. A few years ago, she decided she wanted to be a travel blogger. Bought gear, redesigned her Instagram, spent weeks working on it, writing captions, editing drone footage from a vacation we took. When it didn't go viral within a few months, she dropped it cold and acted like it never happened. But this is different. It's darker. It's crueler. She's not just chasing something, she's pushing everyone away while doing it. I'm still sleeping in the guest room. I still can't look at her without seeing that pot in her hand again. That empty look she gave me before she threw it, that's what haunts me the most. No remorse. Just total detachment, like I wasn't even real to her anymore. Just another TikTok character. I've started documenting things, dates, times, screenshots of her posts. I need to protect myself. I don't even know what she might say next, or how far she'll take it. Her followers online don't know the truth. They think she's a brave woman escaping a controlling man. And if they knew the reality, I'm not sure they'd care. That's what scares me. I've been reading a lot about parasocial validation and how some people literally rewire their entire personality around online attention. I used to think it was just people being dramatic. But now I'm living it, and I finally understand how quickly someone can lose touch with reality when they start confusing likes for love. I've already scheduled a therapy session for next week. Not couples therapy, just for me. I'm also in the process of getting a divorce lawyer. I haven't told her yet, and I don't know if I want to. But I'll probably pack a bag and stay with my brother for a while. I didn't ask for any of this, but I'm not going to let it break me. I always try to be fair. I tried to support her through her phases. But this has crossed every line. Update 2. I moved out a week after starting therapy. I packed some things, texted my brother to let him know I was coming over, and left. I left her the courtesy of a brief note explaining that I needed space and would be staying somewhere else for now. I'd rather the note get the boiling water next time, not me. She said nothing at first. Radio silence for a day and a half. Then came the TikTok, a dramatic, tear-filled monologue where she cast herself as the wife who found her voice only to be abandoned by the man who couldn't handle her growth. A sad piano track played in the background, and she wore one of the matching hiking jackets we used to share. I watched it once. That was enough. The comments were even worse. People accused me of being abusive. Said I was jealous. Some even tracked down my personal account on another social media platform and sent threats. My phone didn't stop buzzing for 2 straight days. I didn't respond. I focused on documenting everything, just as my therapist and a lawyer friend advised. Screenshots, backups, videos, all of it. I didn't even know she had shown up at my brother's house until she messaged me, saying she was outside, standing on the lawn with her phone in hand, filming. I was at work. She tried to come in through the side door. She told my brother she was shooting a raw blog about her abusive ex. He told her to leave. The next day she posted another TikTok with whatever footage she managed to film, framing my brother as an enabler of abuse. That same week, I filed for a temporary protection order. No hesitation. Our daughter, who had been mostly silent through all this, finally reached out again. She apologized over and over. She said she felt like she had triggered all of this by introducing her mom to TikTok in the first place. I told her none of it was her fault. There's no way she could have known this would happen. She's 19. All she did was show her mom an app. The rest? That was a choice. What hit me hardest came next. My wife posted yet another video, this time about our daughter. She accused her of internalized misogyny, of undermining women's self-actualization. Said she had been brainwashed by her father. Said Yola was turning against her own mother. She framed the whole thing as part of some grand narrative about escaping generational trauma. That's when our daughter snapped. She posted her own TikTok, screenshots, old messages, even a clip of the injury I'd sent her privately to explain why I was in the hospital. The comments section on my wife's page shifted immediately. People started asking real questions. Some of the larger accounts that had previously supported her began deleting their comments. A few even called her out publicly. She started deleting comments, blocking users, and reposting old content on a secondary account. The truth is, I understand that people change. I understand midlife shifts, questioning identity, all of that. But what I cannot understand, and will not forgive, is the violence, the lies, and turning your family into a prop for internet fame. I tried to reach her before any of this. I asked her to unplug, even just for one weekend. So yeah, at this point, I'm no longer trying to reach someone who doesn't want to be reached. I'm staying with my brother for now. I have meetings with my lawyers today, divorce and all that. I didn't mention the police because even though I've been asking about the progress of the investigation into my case, I keep getting vague answers and delays. It's extremely frustrating, so I left that part out, because it amounts to nothing. I'd rather let my lawyer handle it all. Update 3. Things have stayed relatively stable since the restraining order was issued, and I finally have a little breathing room to think. The court hearing was just as tense and awkward as I expected. She tried to paint it all as an overreaction. Told the judge it was just water that accidentally spilled and that I was using it to ruin her online career because I was jealous or controlling, like I somehow asked to be burned for wanting to spend a weekend with my wife instead of chasing clout. The judge called for a recess. When he returned from chambers, he had apparently looked up her account himself. She had 100 followers, so he didn't buy the career argument. He also reviewed the hospital records, the photos, and the notes from the medical staff who treated me. That was enough to grant the protection order. My brother testified about the time she showed up at his house and tried to film a confrontation in his yard. Watching it all unfold felt surreal, like a police drama. Like I was watching someone else's life. Her main account was temporarily suspended a few days later, after my daughter shared the restraining order and people started reporting it. Some people tagged me in comments and DMs, apologizing for believing her version of events. Honestly, I didn't reply to any of them. Update 4. But of course, that didn't stop her. She came back with a new secondary account 2 days later, claiming she was being silenced for speaking her truth. She's doing this new act now, where she speaks in a slow, soft voice, drops clinical terms like she's a licensed therapist, and uses captions like, "healing my inner child from years of gaslighting." I got a call from her sister. She told me the entire family has been watching the meltdown from the sidelines and doesn't know how to reach her. Apparently, this isn't even the first time she's gone through some extreme phase and pushed everyone away, just the worst one. I honestly didn't know what to say except thank you. I wasn't sure what else to say to that. Our daughter took it the hardest. She came home for spring break and ended up crying in the kitchen because she still feels like she started all this by introducing her mom to TikTok in the first place. I've told her, again and again, directly and clearly, this is not her fault. She didn't ask her mom to throw her life away and start living through a ring light. But I get why she feels that way. She remembers the version of her mom who used to cook Sunday dinners and plan little weekend getaways. The woman now filming fake sad stories in her car is a stranger. My divorce lawyer has been working non-stop. We're now deep into the formal separation process. He told me to expect some kind of response from my wife, either legal or just more noise. So far, she's been silent on the paperwork but loud everywhere else. She's back to posting regularly and seems to have a few new creator friends who cheer her on. I looked once out of curiosity. I don't need to look again. I've got an appointment this week to finalize the next step in the separation. I'm already working on removing her name from the lease, or mine, depending, and figuring out who handles which bills. It's a mess, but at least now it's a process. I signed the papers last week, and I feel really good about putting an end to all of this. It didn't turn into the big courtroom drama I half expected. She didn't show up. She didn't contest anything. She didn't try to delay or demand anything. Her lawyer emailed everything, already signed, and that was that. The final chapter in what feels like a completely different life. I'm not going to pretend I'm totally okay or that I walked away clean. The physical burns healed months ago, and my skin looks pretty good despite the scarring. Still, maybe I'll get a tattoo over it someday. A mutual friend from years back reached out recently to let me know she's living with some guy who also makes content. Apparently, they're doing some sort of couples act now, and from what I've heard, she's also on OnlyFans. No, I didn't look it up. I'm not interested. I don't need pictures to understand the point. I don't care what she does or doesn't do, I just hope she doesn't throw boiling water at this new guy too. Though now, without clothes, that could definitely hurt. Our daughter hasn't spoken to her since everything exploded after the restraining order. She went back to college a month after her last visit and dove back into her studies. But I know it hit her hard. She doesn't say it out loud, but I know there's guilt in there. She still blames herself, just a little, for ever showing her mom TikTok in the first place. I've told her 100 times she's not responsible. This didn't happen overnight. It was part of her mother's obsessive behavior. TikTok was just the outlet she'd already been looking for. Still, I'm proud of my daughter. She stayed grounded. She stood up for herself when people online started sending threats. And she didn't let her mom guilt her into choosing sides. It was hard to watch her choose to cut off her own mother, but I think she knew the version of her mother she grew up with was gone. She recently told me she does not even open TikTok anymore, says it makes her sick. As for me, I moved back into our old house once everything was settled. She had already abandoned it months ago anyway, so I slowly cleaned it up. I took down all her ring lights and leftover gear, packed it up, and left it in a storage unit under her name. I left a message saying it would only be held there for 30 days. I never got a response. I do not know if she ever picked it up or just left it behind. I started hiking again. Nothing big, just the old trails we used to walk together when things were simpler. I didn't want her to take that away from me too. At first, it hurt going alone, but eventually, I got used to the silence. Now, in some way, I enjoy it. No one talking about angles or lighting. No one trying to stage moments for their feed. Just nature and peace. I forgot how much I missed that kind of stillness. Some people have asked me if I plan to date again. I tried once, met someone and grabbed coffee. We talked for about an hour, and halfway through, I realized I wasn't ready. Not because I want my wife back, I don't. That door is closed. It's more that I don't know how to trust someone new yet. I gave everything to someone who ended up choosing strangers on the internet over her own family. That kind of thing messes with you. You start to doubt your own judgment. I don't spend much time on Reddit anymore, but I felt I owed an update to the people who followed me through all this. When it all started, I felt like I was losing control. No one in my real life really understood. People said things like, "Everyone's on TikTok now," or "She's just trying to express herself," like I was overreacting. Yeah, but it was never about the app. It was about losing someone you loved to something you could never compete with. Watching them become a stranger. Watching them lie, twist stories, even hurt you, and then paint themselves as the victim to get likes. That's a level of betrayal I wouldn't wish on anyone. Do I hate her? No, I don't think I do. Hate takes too much energy, and I'm done giving her any more of mine. But I won't sugarcoat it either. She hurt me deeply. She scared me. That moment with the boiling water changed everything. When someone you love looks at you without emotion and does something like that, it's not something you forget. I can't brush it off as a bad day or a mental health episode. Yes, she made a choice. And when you make choices like that, you don't get to stay in someone's life. So yeah, it's over. I've moved on the best I can. The house is mine again. My daughter is safe. My body is healing. As for the report, it was completely closed. They treated it as a domestic accident. Which, to me, is ridiculous. Anyone who saw my injuries would know how strange it is. If it were an accident, the pot would have dropped on my feet, not my arm and chest. The only thing my lawyer and I have been able to pursue is a civil suit. It won't get her any jail time, but at least it might help me recover the money I spent on treatment. Or that's where my optimism is focused for now. But after seeing what the police did, or didn't do, I don't know if I should keep my expectations high. We're asking for $25,000. Enough to cover my medical bills, damages, and legal fees. At this point, I'd settle for a fraction. I'm honestly not even sure we'll win anything. And for those who mentioned a defamation lawsuit. Yes, we looked into that too. It was dismissed due to a lack of real damage against me, based on what's been determined. So, for now, all that's left is the assault case. Where we do believe there was clear harm. But you know how this goes, Update 5. I bring good news from my latest lawsuit, we won. And not only that, the judge awarded an additional $25,000 on top of the initial $25,000 plus attorney fees. For once, it felt good to receive some justice from the very system that, up until now, had seemed to do the opposite. Until this point, the only thing I had been granted was the restraining order, and not much else. But the judge, or the universe, saw the injustice and started to restore a little bit of what was lost. Still, I could not fully enjoy the moment because as soon as the ruling came down, she argued through her lawyer that she had no money to pay it. She claimed she had gone through a difficult divorce and couldn't come up with the nearly $65,000 she now owed. So, for a few weeks, I was back to feeling somewhat low, because, yes, I had technically won. But it felt like the victory was taken from me almost immediately. But my lawyer told me not to worry and hired a specialist to estimate her earnings from OnlyFans. I don't know how he did it, but he determined she had made over $100,000 since launching her account. He presented this to the judge and argued that she should use that income to pay the judgment. The judge agreed. That, however, triggered some alarms. She had never declared that account and wasn't paying taxes on the earnings. She assumed that by not showing her face and using another name, no one would ever know, especially not the IRS. But my lawyer included, as part of the evidence, body photos showing birthmarks in the same locations. And that was enough to establish identity. The video cost only $10, plus the expert's report estimating the earnings, which was also added to the attorney fees and will now have to be paid by her as well. Now, we are just waiting for her to make the payment, and to see what the tax authorities decide to do with her. But at least I can end this update on a positive note, which is a huge change for once. Update 6. I am now the holder of $50,000. While my lawyer has been paid $18,010. For his services and for the expenses incurred during the investigation. Now it's a complete victory. There are no appeals, and nothing my ex-wife can do about it. We also found out she owed the IRS more than $30,000 in back taxes, since they requested proof of income from OnlyFans. And the platform complied. But that's not the final amount she'll have to pay. With tax evasion penalties and interest, she now has a debt of $55,000 to the government. And that's not the only issue she's facing. Her pimp, her partner, also claimed a portion of the money for helping her record her scenes. An argument between them led to her stabbing him in the hand with a knife. I don't know the full details of that. But she was only given 4 years of probation. I honestly cannot believe the justice system does nothing about someone this violent. But even if it's not a criminal penalty, at least in monetary terms, it feels like justice. I also found out her OnlyFans account was shut down for serious violations. Maybe it had something to do with her attempt to defraud the IRS. Or maybe it was something else entirely.